Most people think moving faster will make it happen sooner, but what if I told you that every time you rush, you're actually pushing your manifestation away? It's a quiet trap, one Neville Goddard warned about, where urgency becomes proof to your subconscious that you don't have it yet. And in the law of assumption, that's the very state that gets repeated back to you. Here's the paradox. The more you hurry, the more you stay in not yet. The more you rest, the more reality catches up. I'm not talking about doing nothing. I'm talking about living so fully in the end that there's no room for panic, because feeling is the secret, and when you carry the calm certainty of "it's already mine," you become magnetic. In this video, you're going to see why impatience in manifestation is one of the biggest blocks people don't notice, how to shift into the power of calm assumption, and the exact way to rest in the end so your desire flows to you without the desperate chase. It's funny, as most people think that moving faster will bring the results sooner. But hurry has a sneaky price tag. It tells your subconscious, it's not here yet. And the subconscious, faithful as a mirror, simply reflects that state back. That's why hurry blocks manifestation, because every time we act from urgency, we're reinforcing the very absence we want to escape. It's like running on a treadmill, sweating and panting, yet staying in the same place. Imagine planting a seed and then digging it up every few hours to see if it's growing. The seed doesn't need more checking. It needs trust, soil, and stillness. The same goes for your desire. Impatience is like ripping it out of the ground before it can bloom. When you understand that impatience in manifestation comes from doubt, you begin to see why peace feels so different and works so much better. Neville Goddard taught that imagination creates reality, but here's the twist. The quality of that imagination matters. If you imagine in a rush, you're not living in the end. You're still running toward it. And the law of assumption is always taking notes on your inner state, whether calm or chaotic. Rest in the end, and the end will meet you there. Think of it this way. Life doesn't respond to your watch. It responds to your state. When you push, force, or scramble, you're in the energy of "it's missing." When you relax into the vision, letting the feeling be the secret, you're signaling, "it's mine already." And that's where the magic quietly begins. Now let's look at why Neville insisted that creation is already finished. Neville Goddard had this radical idea. Everything you could ever want already exists, right now, in the unseen. He called it "creation is finished." That means your dream isn't waiting to be built. It's waiting to be assumed. The moment you start hurrying, you're silently declaring, "It's not ready yet. I need to make it happen." But in the world of consciousness, that's like shouting into a canyon that you don't believe it's done. And guess what echoes back? More waiting. Think about ordering something online. You don't check the store's warehouse every hour to see if they're making it. You just order, pay, and go about your day because you trust the process. That's exactly what calm assumption looks like. You place the order with your imagination and then go live in the end. That's not laziness. It's mastery. When urgency kicks in, it's a sign we've forgotten that the blueprint is already complete. Imagination creates reality, but only when it's treated as reality, not as a maybe. The moment you stop believing you have to force it into existence, you'll notice a strange peace taking over. And that peace is not empty. It's charged with quiet certainty. Here's the paradox. The sooner you accept that there's nothing to rush, the sooner it arrives. Why? Because the law of assumption responds to your inner "it's done" energy far faster than it does to your frantic "where is it" energy. And if creation is already finished, the real question becomes, why do we still feel the need to race? Hurry is like a mask that pretends to be motivation, but underneath, it's pure doubt. If someone knew the result was guaranteed, they wouldn't scramble to make it happen. They'd simply prepare to receive it. The rush we feel in manifestation isn't because we're so ready, it's because part of us doesn't trust it's coming, and the subconscious picks up on that lack of trust instantly. It's the same as tracking a package obsessively because you don't believe the delivery system works. Every time you check, you're reaffirming, "it's not here yet." In the language of the law of assumption, that's living in the state of absence. And as Neville Goddard warned, urgency stops manifestation because it confirms to your inner world that you're still waiting. When you truly adopt calm assumption, it's like exhaling after holding your breath for too long. The shoulders drop. The mind stops scanning the horizon. You begin to feel, not just say that feeling is the secret to keeping your desire steady in consciousness. It's a quiet, unshakable knowing. But here's the tricky part. Doubt is sneaky. It often dresses itself as taking action or being responsible. The challenge is learning to spot the difference between inspired action, born from certainty, and frantic movement, born from fear. And to see that clearly, we need to understand the subtle energy carried by impatience. Impatience has a specific tone to it, and it's never neutral. It vibrates with the energy of not having yet. You can feel it in your body. Restlessness, overthinking, the urge to check if it has arrived. In manifestation terms, that's like constantly broadcasting a radio signal that says, "I'm still waiting." And because imagination creates reality, the outer world simply mirrors that frequency back to you. Think of someone pacing in the lobby of a restaurant, checking their watch every few seconds. No matter how much they say they're confident the table is coming, their body language tells a different story. That's what impatience does. It leaks the energy of absence even when the mind insists it's positive. And the law of assumption responds more to your vibration than to your words. Neville Goddard's teachings about rest in the end become crucial here. The opposite of impatience isn't laziness, it's presence. It's the calm, grounded feeling that your scene is already real. When you enter that state, you're no longer asking the question, when, but living the answer now. That's the shift that starts changing everything. But here's the catch. Impatience doesn't just delay, it destabilizes. It keeps pulling your focus from fulfilled back to not yet, which is like rewinding a movie right before the climax. To escape that loop, you need to learn the power of dwelling in the end with complete calm. There's a reason Neville Goddard emphasized living in the end, not just visiting it for a few seconds and then rushing back to worry. When you dwell there calmly, you begin to become the version of yourself who already has the thing. This isn't daydreaming. It's a conscious, steady alignment. And the more you stay in that inner state, the more the outer world starts rearranging itself to match. Picture slipping into your favorite chair after a long day. You don't perch on the edge, waiting to see if it will collapse. You relax into it, trusting it will hold you. Calm assumption works the same way. You rest in the certainty of your fulfilled desire, not because you see it yet, but because you know it's already finished in the unseen. This is where the feeling is. The secret truly comes alive. You're not forcing an emotion. You're letting it flow naturally from the belief that the outcome is already secured. That calm, fulfilled energy acts like a stabilizer, holding your assumptions steady no matter what's happening around you. And it's in that stability that the manifestation begins to crystallize. The beauty is, once you taste this kind of stillness, rushing feels unnatural. You start to realize that every urge to hurry is a step away from the very reality you're trying to create, which leads us to an even deeper truth. Feeling isn't just important, it's the very anchor of your assumption. Neville Goddard's phrase "feeling" is the secret isn't poetic fluff, it's the whole architecture of manifestation. The mind can wander, get distracted, even doubt for a moment, but feeling locks the door and keeps you inside the desired state. When you choose the emotional tone of "it's already mine," you create stability. And stability is what allows the unseen to solidify into form. Think of it like a radio station. If you keep twisting the dial, jumping between hope, doubt, and impatience, you'll get nothing but static. But when you hold the dial steady on one frequency, the signal comes through clear. That steady frequency is calm assumption, and the energy of hurry is the interference that keeps distorting it. The tricky part is that hurry feels like you're doing something useful. It creates the illusion of momentum, but it's actually momentum in the wrong direction. The more you chase, the more you subtly affirm that you don't yet have it. That's why urgency stops manifestation. It's emotional proof of absence. Once you start living from the inner stability of your fulfilled feeling, you notice something magical. The world bends to meet you. Opportunities appear naturally. Conversations align. The how takes care of itself. And to help anchor this stability even deeper, there's a simple daily technique that works wonders. Here's a simple practice that can shift everything. Once a day, close your eyes and step into the version of you who already has the thing. Not halfway, not almost there, but already. Picture the scene in rich detail. Feel the texture, the sounds, the emotions. Let it be so real that your body believes it's happening now. This isn't forcing, it's resting. While you're in that scene, breathe slowly and deeply. Each inhale is a reminder, it's mine. Each exhale releases the urge to hurry. You're not pushing the vision forward, you're allowing it to wrap around you like a warm blanket. This is rest in the end in action. And the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. Neville Goddard taught that imagination creates reality, but only when you feel what you imagine as true. That's why this stillness matters. It's not about length, it's about depth. Even a few minutes of genuine immersion outweighs hours of anxious thinking. When you leave the session, carry the residue of that feeling into your day. Over time, you'll notice you're not checking for signs as much. You're not measuring how far away it is, and that shift is the beginning of something bigger, recognizing the subtle signals that show you've moved out of hurry and into true alignment. One of the first signs is a sense of lightness. You're no longer waking up with that check the phone urgency to see if something happened overnight. Instead, there's an underlying calm, like you already know the answer, even if you can't see it yet. That's calm assumption at work, silently confirming to your subconscious that you're living in the end. Another sign is reduced mental chatter about when or how. You start noticing more present moment enjoyment. Your coffee tastes better. The sunlight feels warmer. These small moments are proof that your focus is shifting from absence to fulfillment. And remember, feeling is the secret. These subtle shifts matter more than you think. You might also catch yourself smiling at small coincidences, like hearing someone mention what you want or stumbling upon a related image. Instead of taking them as teasers or reminders that it's not here yet, you begin to see them as gentle winks from reality, confirming that the law of assumption is at play. And perhaps the most telling sign? You stop looking for proof altogether. There's a quiet knowing that the outer world is simply catching up to your inner state, and from that place, persisting becomes less about effort and more about returning to that steady, fulfilled feeling whenever doubt tries to creep back in. Persisting doesn't mean pushing, it means returning. Returning to the inner state where your desire is already a fact. Whenever the itch to hurry appears, see it for what it is, a gentle reminder to step back into alignment. Neville Goddard would say, this is where you prove your faith, not by doing more, but by being unwavering in your assumption. It's like holding a note in a song. You don't have to strain, you just keep the vibration steady. And yes, life will try to pull you off key, unexpected bills, delays, or silence from the universe. But your job isn't to react to the noise, it's to keep humming the melody of "it's done." That's how imagination creates reality without friction. When you live from rest in the end, persistence becomes natural. You're not enduring the wait, you're enjoying the present while knowing the future is already set. That combination of peace and certainty is magnetic. It draws the physical result without the usual drama of effort and struggle. And here's the beauty. The more you practice this, the faster the urge to hurry loses its grip. Eventually, you'll see that manifestation isn't about sprinting. It's about holding your ground so steadily that reality has no choice but to meet you there. Which brings us to the final truth. Creation always meets you in stillness. Manifestation isn't a chase, it's a meeting point. And that meeting point is stillness. Not the absence of action, but the absence of frantic, proving energy. When you rest in stillness, you're telling your subconscious, we're already there. And because the law of assumption operates on states, not timelines, reality begins to align quietly, without strain. Think of it like a calm lake reflecting the sky. When the water is still, the image is clear. But when it's disturbed, rushed, agitated, the reflection becomes distorted. Your imagination works the same way. Hurry blocks manifestation because it stirs the waters. Stillness, on the other hand, lets the vision settle into perfect clarity until the outer world mirrors it back. Neville Goddard often reminded his students that feeling is the secret, and the feeling of already having is most accessible in stillness. It's in that calm state that you can hear the inner confirmation, see the finished scene, and actually believe it. No convincing, no chasing, just being. From there, life seems to cooperate in surprising ways. The chance meeting, the unexpected call, the opportunity that feels hand-delivered, all of it flows naturally when you stop trying to pull it toward you. Because the truth is, it was always on its way. You just needed to be still enough to meet it. So now the question is, how often have you been unknowingly rushing your own miracle? How many times have you planted the seed only to dig it up with doubt and urgency? The truth is, imagination creates reality, but only when you give it the stillness to take root. The moment you start living in the end, not visiting it, you shift from chasing to receiving. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. Feeling is the secret, and the feeling of already having is the most magnetic force you can carry. It's not about forcing faith, it's about resting in it. So tell me in the comments, where in your life do you feel the urge to hurry right now? And how would it feel to replace that rush with certainty? If you want to keep learning how to apply Neville Goddard's teachings in a real practical way, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications and stay with me. Because the moment you master calm assumption, the rest of your manifestations won't feel like a fight. They'll feel inevitable.